Tensions in West Asia has now come to an all-time high. Once called Switzerland of the East, Lebanon is now a country in crisis. About 500 people have died in Israeli attacks on Monday, in what is understood to be the biggest pounding by the Israeli forces since the 2006 war. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan, where we'll be discussing the Lebanon crisis and how the implications of this war entering Lebanon is going to impact West Asia as a whole. What initially began as a localized conflict between Israel and Hamas has rapidly spiraled into a regional security crisis, casting a shadow of uncertainty and instability over West Asia. Lebanese authorities have reported at least 580 deaths and over 1,600 injuries, forcing tens of thousands to flee. A shocking video has also surfaced which shows a journalist getting thrown off balance as he was on air broadcasting from his home in Lebanon's Baalbek. The journalist in the video has been identified as Fadi Baudia, the editor-in-chief of the Miraya International Network. He has been reportedly injured after the impact. Amid heavy exchanges of fire, Israel has warned civilians to evacuate areas where Hezbollah was allegedly storing weapons. Reports are now also emerging that Israel is dropping leaflets with a very dangerous barcode on them onto Lebanon's eastern Bekaa Valley, warning that scanning the code by phone would withdraw all information from any device. Although there is no clarification yet whether anything was written on the flyers. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also reiterated that Israel's fight was against Hezbollah, not the Lebanese people.
I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Israel's war is not with you. It's with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please, get out of harm's way now. Once our operation is finished, you can come back safely to your homes.
After fresh warning by Israel to residents of Lebanon, large number of civilians have moved to find safety on the eastern side of Beirut, while others arrived in the country's north, where local officials opened schools and other locations to accommodate the newly displaced.
Now, when we heard the explosions, I was a bit fearful, more than usual, because it's very loud and there's no alarms. And so you kind of wonder what's going on because there is an escalation, it seems like. We are used to it, but it seems really serious this time.
The sense of fear and anguish mounted as commercial airlines paused flights, with Beirut's international airport announcing the cancellation of further 30 flights in and out of the capital. We also have Joe Federman, who has sent us the latest information from the ground in Lebanon. Take a look.
Israel has now begun using a tactic that we've seen in Gaza. It has issued evacuation orders to villages in Lebanon where it plans on striking. Israel says Hezbollah uses these areas to hide its weapons. Israel says it has struck hundreds of targets and inflicted heavy damage on Hezbollah. But scores of people have been killed, and thousands of people are now being forced to evacuate their homes.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has warned that Israel is seeking to provoke Iran into joining the conflict, which would have irreversible consequences for the region. Pezeshkian, speaking in New York for the UN General Assembly, reiterated Iran's anti-Israel stance and support for Hezbollah, but stressed that Iran does not seek war. He also accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza and called for a diplomatic resolution to the conflict. Amid these tensions, Hezbollah has vowed to continue fighting until a ceasefire is achieved in Gaza, with ceasefire negotiations currently at a stalemate. Meanwhile, the US expressed concern over a potential regional escalation and emphasized the importance of de-escalation. According to reports, the US has decided to send additional troops to West Asia, although Washington has yet to give out details. Currently, there are about 40,000 American troops stationed in the region. Has Lebanon become the new theater of war? To discuss more on this, I'm being joined by Dr. Wael Awad. He is a West Asia expert, lives in New Delhi. Dr. Awad, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global. This is a very, very serious scenario where we're looking at not just an escalation, but Israel going beyond Gaza, going beyond Palestine. What does it mean for the region?
Thank you, Geeta. I think this is a very large and dangerous escalation. Now all the doors are open for a full-fledged regional war, which will involve Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and also Iran. So we are expecting that this war will expand. It depends on the amount of bombardment that Israel has been carrying out against the Lebanese target. And now we have seen more than 600 people have been killed and more than 2,000 injured. And Hezbollah are retaliating by firing at different places of Israel, including the new rocket, which is called the Fadi 3, that can hit maybe 100 kilometers deep inside Israel. That means nobody is safe. And I think this is an escalation because of the failure of the Israel in finishing Gaza Strip after even almost a year of bombardment and genocide, and now they are shifting and diverting attention to Lebanon, where they're going to take full advantage of the American elections and these days before the American election, where Netanyahu is refusing any kind of negotiation or any kind of ceasefire.
Well, Dr. Awad, the fact that you are talking about this entire region over here, but and the focus has been Hamas, how to take down Hamas, how to wipe out Hamas, but was that always the case, or are we looking at a scenario, a case where Israel was always focused on Hezbollah? Look at the planning. This planning couldn't have happened just, out of the blue. It did take a lot of planning, which means Hezbollah always were a very important target for Israel.
Well, absolutely, you are right, because you remember that Hezbollah came to existence only after the Israeli invasion of Lebanon, and they have invaded and captured the Beirut as the second capital after Jerusalem of an Arab countries, and then Hezbollah came to existence and forced the Israeli to withdraw from Beirut only by force. And on 2006 Israel war on Lebanon, we have noticed that 45 days of continuous war, and then there was a resolution in the UN Security Council to 1701 calling for a total ceasefire and pulling out of the troops from the border and cessation of all hostilities. That was never implemented, but it has given some sort of peace for the last 17 years between Israel and Lebanon. I think barring few incidents of escalation happen from time to time. But what we witnessed since the invasion of Gaza, since the attack of Israel on the Palestinian and West Bank, Jerusalem and Gaza, Hezbollah linked the attack on Israel to the cessation of this hostility by Israel. They said they are ready to stop the escalation if Israel stopped the war on Gaza. But that was a pretext that gave Netanyahu and his cabinet to go full-fledged war against Lebanon for two reasons. A, the international community have failed in doing its duty to stop the war on Gaza, where Israel felt that they are above the international law, and they continue till date the havoc and the total destruction of Palestine and the remaining of Gaza Strips and West Bank. And now with opening a front in Lebanon, it is a clear indication that Netanyahu wanted to bring the Israelis in the northern part of Israel back into their home, but by attacking and selective attacking of only the Shia stronghold position in Lebanon, it's a clear indication that he wanted to drag Iran into this war, and I don't think the Iranian would stay away if this attack escalates and more of killing at the hand of the Israelis happening.
But What is Israel really thinking at this point in time? Because they are taking on Hamas, they take on the Houthis, now the Hezbollah. If at all there is a multi-pronged attack on Israel, how will Israel really retaliate? How will Israel really react to a multi-pronged attack? Because it seems like they're preparing themselves and they must have a plan in place, but nonetheless they're preparing themselves for a multi-pronged attack.
Well, absolutely. I think what Israel's objective is just a continuation of a colonial enclave created called Israel in this part of the world. They are not believing in two-state solution. They don't believe in a Palestinian state. They have already passed law that there is no Palestinian state, there is no Palestinian even in Israel. So if these are the declaration by the Israeli current government, I think now we are heading for more disaster in this part of the world, because there are lots of resolutions and every country has abided for those resolutions apart from United States and Israel to implement the two-state solution. And these are already in the UN Security Council in this regard. But Israel does not believe that there is a Palestinian. Secondly, there is an objective to create a greater Israel. And that's what we always talked about. Today it is Gaza, tomorrow it is Lebanon, then Syria, then coming to be Jordan. They just watch and see. We have been reading and we have been coming on your channel many times, and we have been warning that this war is going to be a regional war, because Netanyahu feels as long as he continue this bombardment and this war on Gaza and now on Lebanon, he can stay in office, because the moment he stops this war, his political career is over and he will be taken to jail by the Israeli court. So therefore, as long as he continues, he stays in office. But he also have made a declaration to the American and to the negotiator that there is no exchange of prisoners till 45 days till the American election, and there will be no stoppage of carnage on the Gaza, and now we are expanding into Lebanon. So all this is a clear indication that he is run by a weak coalition, one of the most extreme right-wing fascist Israelis in his cabinet, who are not willing to stop this war, and they believe with the support of the United States and the West behind them, with all this weaponry in their hand, they can repeat what they have done in Gaza in Lebanon, which is impossible, and that's what the situation is going to be more grave.
Well, we're looking at a lot of international reactions coming in. The Iranian president has warned Israel. The UN Secretary General has said that Lebanon is going into an abyss. So there are a lot of reactions coming in. US also has expressed concerns regarding the potential escalation. But in terms of what the United States of America is really going to do, there is an existential threat, Dr. Awad, when it comes to Israel, should there be a multi-pronged attack on Israel. In such a scenario, what is the US going to do? How is the US going to assist and help? Because they have actually no interest in putting boots on the ground anymore in that part of the world. That's out of the question. So how will they help?
I think your question is quite important, especially if we take in consideration what the American president have been just speaking on the UN Security and the UN General Assembly meeting. When his speech, he was mentioning and he was talking of a ceasefire of a Palestinian state. The rhetoric of the United States continue, and they're unable to stop. Even the most powerful superpower in the world cannot even bring 1 kilo of rice into Gaza. What does it mean? That means they are hijacked, they are totally at ransom of the Israeli lobby, which is taking full advantage. And remind you, even Netanyahu had as per the American newspaper, as per the Israeli newspaper, as per many of the analysts, have already reached a deal with President Trump that if he comes to power, Kamala Harris will fall and he will recognize the annexation of West Bank as a permanent Israeli territory. If that is the plan, then I think he will continue this war till the election of the United States. And if Kamala Harris come back to power, we may find a change in the American policy. But once if Iran is dragged into this, it will be a catastrophe. For two reasons. A, there are lots of military bases in the Gulf country where the United States have established and have all bases of their military in those territories. If Iran attack tomorrow Israel and Israel retaliate and the United States take any flight from any of these countries into Iran to attack Iran, Iran have made it very clear to those respected countries that it will attack the military bases of the United States in their territory, which means even if you don't put a foothold on those countries or a boat in Iraq or in Lebanon or in Iran, it's going to be a catastrophe for the United States. And I think the United States recognize and acknowledge the dangers of a larger escalation of the war. That's why you hear Jake Sullivan, you heard the Blinken, you hear the President of the United States, everybody having a reshuffling of diplomatic missions to make sure that this war does not expand. But here you are having a prime minister of a country where he's taking everybody at risk and the whole region into his own hand, and because he has a personal interest of continuing this war.
Right. When I said that they don't want boots on the ground, or they don't have, let me just, for the benefit of our viewers, Dr. Awad, say that when I say that, I know that the United States of America has no interest in entering an active war, but the situation in West Asia is different, particularly when it comes to Israel. They already have 40,000 troops on the ground, like you said, with various bases across West Asia, and they are going to send more troops. But when it comes to entering the war, do you think the US will actually enter the war with soldiers on the ground?
Well, if we look,
or are they, or can I just add, or are they only going to assist with air power as they've been doing from their warships?
I think they have been doing that for the last 1 year, and they have given Israel all the bomb, all the killing of the Palestinians. They have achieved by the might of Israel. Power is not because Israel is powerful army and they have been selling this story. It is only because of the American weaponry that they were able to do total destruction. 85% of Gaza totally destroyed. 100% of the population has been displaced, according to the UN agencies, and every 150,000 people have been killed and injured. More than 12,000 is missing. So all that achievement, it's a good achievement, and it is a feather in the hat of the criminal Netanyahu, who has been involved in all this. International Court of Justice has been saying. The United States, as per the report, we are hitting that they are sending more troops into the region because Israel is already exhausted in Gaza. They cannot go for an invasion to Lebanon, and they may continue a bombardment of Beirut and Lebanon for at least a month, that like the American did in Baghdad before the invasion of Baghdad in 2003, till they think that it is the total exhaustion, then the American may steps in. I don't think any American president candidate, even Kamala Harris or even Trump, will be willing to see an American troops in the ground. Having said that, I would say they are very cautious. They are using mercenaries from all over the world. And we all know, I have been embedded with the American troops, and I know that half of their army is mercenaries.
Okay, very important point there. But explain to us the region. And final question to you, Dr. Awad. Right now, Lebanon, especially Hezbollah, is in shock. Their communication links quite decimated. But like another security expert, Rohan Gunaratne, when I was speaking to him, said that the Hezbollah always has survived is because they use the new communication system, which is go back to people, use other forms that are not technology dependent to communicate, and therefore they've always survived. Do you think Hezbollah will survive this attack as well? And they're so stunned that they're not reacting, but should they react? Which are the countries that will come to Hezbollah's help when they want to retaliate?
I think after the Black Week of Israel attack on the criminal acts by attacking on pagers, on talkie-walkie, on the cellular phone, on the laptops, and killing civilians and Lebanese Hezbollah fighters, this is a clear indication they have no respect for human beings. Let us put it very clearly on your channel. The American university and American hospitals in Beirut, they send a warning to all their staff not to use these technology 1 week before the Israeli attack, which means America is deeply involved in this attack. Therefore, when you are attacking civilian and you have no respect, I think that has given an upper hand and rallying behind Hezbollah, that because of Hezbollah fighters, because of the Lebanese resistance, they were able to stand on their foot. They were able to keep checkmating Israel from not invading Lebanon again. But having said that, I would say that Israel provocation is a measure that Netanyahu wanted to continue a permanent war in this region. And I think somebody has to put Netanyahu back into the jail, let him go to international trial to find out, and let us end this war. We do not want war in this region, neither Hezbollah nor any of the Arab countries. Therefore, all the Arab countries, even the Arab League, is issuing a statement that we do not want war. Nobody wants a war. Let's go for a negotiation. Let us go for a settlement. That's all what needed in this part of the world. We have already suffered enough, and we cannot suffer more.
In your wildest imagination, Dr. Awad, do you think this war can extend to countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia, or for that matter, Qatar?
Well, if Iran is got involved and the United States it get indulged or drag its feet into this war, definitely this country will be at risk. And I think India will have to calculate nicely, and they have to fasten their belt, because the contingency plan has to be in order for three reasons: the expat security, the food security, and the oil security, because Strait of Hormuz will be attacked. Red Sea is already at risk, at Mediterranean now. So the global peace and security is at risk, and also global trade and oil will be at risk. So therefore, I think we are all have to be prepared, and we all should work to avoid a larger scale war in this part.
So you're saying if Iran enters the war, the whole of the Arab world, which includes Saudi Arabia and UAE, can be at risk, and India should be thinking for the security of its own people there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we all have to be careful, because this is going to be no end. And if today, as I said, if this is the plan of the Israelis, Geeta, let me share with you this plan. This is from an Israeli man. It is called Greater Israel. And Greater Israel, showing the map from the Euphrates to Nile, including Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, the 1/3 of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. That is the plan. If Israeli left to their own to go into this kind of attack, I think we have to read the history. We do not have to implement or write some article in a religious book to say that this land belongs to us only, and because God can't be choosy, and God is only human for him.
Dr. Wael Awad, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
With tensions escalating and the growing hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, it has made the whole of Lebanon vulnerable, with the international community warning that if attacks are not curbed immediately, it would spill over to other nations in West Asia, and that such a wider conflict may spiral out of control. For now, it seems like the Arab world, which is particularly Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, have remained untouched. But should Iran enter the fray, like Dr. Awad said, this could spell trouble for these important, powerful nations. Thank you for watching India Today Global.